Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
I went to the Savage X Fenty event. Rihanna was there, and I had a terrible experience. I'll tell you about it. We were there to celebrate the new lace collection. I get there, the event staff was amazing. The event itself was really, really beautifully done. Long story short, I was very excited to be there. Everything is going really well until Rihanna comes in. She gets there, she gives a speech, and then she starts going around for photos. Let me explain how this is set up. So imagine a room that's like a circle, and around the circle, there's probably like 5 to 6 spots to take photos, okay? She takes about 5 to 8 photos, then she moves to the next spot. At the first spot, I noticed that the security was being very rude, talking to people really nasty, by the way. At the first and the second spot, I realized, you know what? Instead of waiting at the second station, let's just go to the one she's gonna go to next. Will be the first in line there. We are at where the start of the line should be, okay? The security who's been being rude comes and starts a line next to us, okay? And she's pulling people through the line, and we're like, hey, we were here. She looks at us like she's actually sick. And she's like, if you're not on the list, you might have to just go to another one. What list? What list? We're not outside of the hotel meet and greet. This is a private event. So I'm asking, okay, what list? Oh, it's based off of follower count. Hold on. Serena and Cordell with millions of followers are here. I need to wrap it up and go home, because if it's going based off of follower count, there's no chance for me. Part of me is like, okay, I get it. But the other part of me is like, wait, why did you invite me? Why am I here? This is when I notice the security guard starts targeting me, because she's pointing to me and saying, no photos, no photos. Mind you, while she's saying this, she's fucking pulling people in for photos. She's pulling other people in for photos. Cool, other people, they're trying to hand their phone out so somebody can take a picture or video. I'm doing it happily, as if I'm event photography, because I want them to like get their photos. I'm happy for them. After I'm done taking the photos for other people, I'm trying to step in. The security guard is taking her ass from wherever she came from, and she is stepping in front of me every single time. Every single time. You might be thinking, maybe you weren't being targeted. Maybe if the security didn't knock my camera to the ground. Ask me if the zoom on my $1,000 plus camera is working. I stayed an hour past the end of the event. Some people literally stayed just to help me try to get a photo. You don't understand. When I tell you, targeted the whole night. And I want to make it clear that I was literally nothing but respectful. I'm not the type of person who's just gonna stick a camera in your face. And I don't care if you're a celebrity, at the end of the day, you're a person. And I don't want to make you feel like a spectacle. Again, the event staff was amazing. Honestly, the ending really ruined it for me, but at the beginning, I had a really great time, so.
I just don't understand why she would make such a good product such a terrible way. As a society, we need to stop being so nice with these makeup product reviews, because they're just gonna keep putting out shit. I'm so tired of every review I see being like, oh my god, this product obviously clearly very much is not working for me, but you know what, it could work for somebody else, so you should try it for yourself. You should still buy it anyway, even though it very. And I just feel like if we don't start giving these companies some real constructive criticism, they're gonna keep giving us like lackluster drops. Like nothing, there's not been that many like fun, new, cool things in makeup recently. I've been Fenty, because she really tried it with this. And I'm actually wearing the skin tint right now. It's gorgeous. Amazing product. 10 out of 10 on product. 0 out of 10 on packaging. I have a lot of Fenty. I just bought this because she got me with the packaging. She really got me with this one. However, you will not be getting me with this. The skin tint itself, it comes by itself in this little ugly little tube. She made it ugly on purpose that you want to buy the $6 case. By itself, it's $42. $6 case. Now it's over $50 for a skin tint, not a foundation. A skin tint that is beautiful. Is gorgeous. However, terrible packaging. And I get it. We're all trying to chase the bag. We all want money. But Rihanna, you've been a billionaire. Why do you don't need to do stuff like this. Like, say this, I hate to even make this video, but this, unacceptable. Get it together. Should never have been sold separately. But this has SPF in it, so I was like, oh, bet I can take this with me when I go down to Florida. I mean, if I have to get the case, then I'll get it. If that means that I can actually like close it so that it doesn't squeeze out all over my luggage. This thing, even with the case, you can't close it. There's no locking feature. There's no way to stop the nozzle from squeezing out. If anything sits on top of your luggage or sits on top of this thing while it's in your bag, all that $48 is down the drain. It's squeezed out into your little makeup bag all over. I don't know, but it is beautiful. As you can see, I love it, but I can't travel with it. I can't take it with me anywhere unless I squeeze it out into like a little tube or something. That's like a really huge design flaw. And if you're gonna be like greedy and sell the case separately like this, at least add like a top to it so that it can actually lock and so that I can travel with it, because you can't travel with this. And it's the perfect thing for vacation. Like this, all I've been doing is like vacation, summertime makeup, because I just love how this looks so much. It's so lightweight. It doesn't feel like anything on my skin. Super glowy. Like it just makes you look healthy and hydrated even after you powder your face. I didn't realize how much that actually pissed me off and how long I was going to talk about that. So I'll make a different part about the rest of these brands if you want to hear my beef with these, because it needs to be dealt with. And I just feel like if we start being more honest with these brands, we'll get much better products that are actually worth these prices. Because like if y'all are going to shrink the sizes of things and still charge and keep raising the prices of them, at least make them good products. Like you're not going to just put out anything and then slap a $40 price tag on it and expect us to buy it because of the name. I refuse.
I work in cosmetic packaging. Let's talk about Miss Riri's new tinted sunscreen. Now, generally, SPF is not a good candidate for refillable packaging, as exposing the UV filters to air during the assembly of the refill component can potentially destabilize them. However, because the design features a pump built into the inner refill itself, the SPF and UV filters are never actually exposed during the refill process. Additionally, having a built-in pump like this means, at least in theory, that consumers can purchase and use the SPF refill entirely on its own.
This is no hate to Fenty at all, but it's like every time I scroll on my For You page and I see black girls like trying on the foundation, it's always a video of them saying that it doesn't match, or they're trying to find their match, or that the foundation is way too warm. And I feel like we kind of got that with her previous soft pro filter soft matte foundation, and now there's like golden hour in a bottle. I guess like it's supposed to be warmer for that golden hour effect, but like it's running way too warm. Personally, I won't be trying the foundation because like I know it's gonna be way too warm as like a girl who prefers cooler tone foundation. I know we love Fenty Beauty, but we're not all super warm toned. We got neutral, cool toned. Like, come on now.
Miss Rihanna, please explain this. Shade 1. What is that? Different person. And this is it on me. There is no way that she is wearing this. I'm gonna need you to come out with some more lighter shades because I can't wear that.
Fenty Hair Salon has now opened in Selfridges, and I was kindly invited down by the Fenty Hair team to go and be the first girl to get her hair done. You heard that's right. So I headed down, of course. I had to take advantage of the opportunity. It's £35 to have your hair styled, so go with clean hair, but the £35 is fully redeemable against Fenty Hair, Fenty Skin, Fenty Beauty. Girl, what a deal. And when I tell you the stylists are ready for every hair type, yes, every hair type. As you guys know, I recently cut my hair into a tiny little bob, so I was like, girl, let's do a little roll, let's give it a little bump under and give us that old school bumperina, you know, that little silk press look. Yeah, give me that Kamala Harris silk press, sister. And we just did it. I had the best experience, and I cannot recommend this enough. Such a beautiful, inclusive experience, and just an amazing way to celebrate the Fenty Hair launch and try the products out if you've not had the chance to try them as well. Just look at the material. Fenty, thank you so much for having me. This means so, so much. I can't wait to see all of your guys' videos trying the salon out.
Do I look like someone who's just come back from the salon? Fenty Hair Salon? Fenty Hair. This is Fenty product in my hair. That is the edge control in my hair. Let's get into it. So I booked an appointment to have a voluminous style that I chose on the website. The salon does say that it caters to all hair textures, as do the products, allegedly. So I was feeling confident. So I came in today, 10 o'clock, and I sat down in the chair. The hairstylist didn't really say hello to me. She didn't really acknowledge me. It was very, very weird. The girl at the reception did, but as soon as she handed me over to my actual black stylist, I was like, hi. She was like, hi. And I was just like, oh, just to let you know, my hair is natural. It was chemically treated a few months ago, like about 6 months ago, but it's grown out now. But my hair is mostly natural, and it's a pixie cut. I was basically doing the consultation for her. Like, she didn't once ask me a question about my hair. Not a single question before she wasn't interested in my hair before she actually started pulling out the product. Like, there wasn't any consultation at all. She showed me the product. She doesn't really talk me through what the product does or how the chemicals work to treat the hair or to strengthen the hair. She just gives me a very vague summary of it, and then she just starts putting it in my hair. And then she started applying heat to my hair. It's like she didn't know how to blow dry natural hair. It was very bizarre. I believe that from the moment I showed up in front of her, she was just annoyed at the prospect of having to do my hair. She started to blow dry my hair, but she didn't have the correct blow drying tools. And like, I did mention this to her. I was like, why don't you have the proper blow drying tools for Afro kinky hair? And she was just like, oh, these are the only ones we were given. I did ask, but they didn't give them to us. I was like, okay, fine. Like, you can definitely make it work. But she wasn't making it work. She was literally dragging the comb from the root of my hair down to the ends as she was applying the heat. And I did mention, I was just like, hey, my head is tender-headed, but also it's really supposed to be from the tip to the root. We'll come back to what she said about that later on. So she did the blow dry. It was a very, very mid blow dry. In fact, it was barely a blow dry because a lot of my roots were still in its kinkiest texture. It wasn't actually in its blown out form, which you need for it to be straightened. Like, but also I have a red carpet tonight. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna sit here and do my hair. Never gonna come here ever again. So once the blow drying was done, she brought out the straighteners. The straightening was looking really good. My hair was looking really healthy. And I made sure I did a protein treatment, moisture treatment, washed my hair thoroughly the night before so that when I came in, we're good to go. So straightening the hair, and I noticed, I was like, oh wow, she's really good with the straighteners because I'm not feeling anything like on my scalp, like I'm not feeling any heat on my scalp. Come to find out, when she starts getting to the front and I can see her better, she's actually not even straightening the roots. She's just avoiding them completely. And when it was brought up, she was like, oh, I don't want to burn your scalp, or I don't want to get heat on your scalp. And it's just like, but if you're a professional stylist, you should know how to be able to straighten natural hair without getting heat on the scalp. So as I started to really push back on these issues, she kind of got an attitude and she was like, listen, like, your hair's natural, so that's why it's gonna be harder for you. It's natural hair, and at the end of the day, you know, it's not gonna be, you know, like someone else's hair. Like, even if I straighten it, it's gonna lose all of the you know, straightened texture because your hair's natural. It's just gonna revert. And I'm like, if you are a qualified hairstylist for black hair, you should know how to do a blow dry and straightening, which is basically the latter half of a silk press, and that hair should withhold that heat for at least 2-3 days. Some people, their silk press can last them a week or more. Obviously, it's down to upkeep. And then, to be fair, I am liking like the little like waves and the texture and the curls and stuff. And then I do mention to her, hey, like the way you're combing my hair, like you're combing it straight from the root down to the tip. Again, this was mentioned before, by the way. This is not the first time I've pushed back. I was pushing back a lot, which is why she was catching an attitude. And so she said, there's nothing wrong with the tips of your hair, like it's healthy. And I'm like, yeah, like even if it's healthy, you're still not supposed to be combing from. It's very much giving the aunties on, like, you know, if you go to Peckham or any of these places to do your hair and they're just combing it straight like that because they don't care about natural hair. They don't care about the safety, protecting it. They don't care about the breakage. They don't even care that it's connected to your scalp and it could be hurting you. They just don't care. It's almost like they're angry at the natural hair. I was like, no, you're supposed to do it like gradually building up from here, and then getting to the actual root and at the scalp area. And she was just like, look, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt when we're doing your hair because your hair's natural. If your hair was relaxed like mine, it wouldn't be that bad. This is getting really long. Join me for part 2. And she was just like, look, you have natural hair, so yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt when we're doing your hair because your hair's natural. If your hair was relaxed like mine, it wouldn't be that bad. I have never felt like such an inconvenience just because my hair's natural. I felt such an inconvenience. The way she spoke to me made me feel like I was just wasting her time because I had natural hair. I felt so like just an inconvenience, like, oh, you ugly nappy-headed girl, like, why did you think you're gonna come here and get a nice style session? That's literally what it was giving. It was giving, what made you think? She was like, yeah, like when you go on our website, just because it says that these styles are applicable, like we're not even supposed to be putting heat on natural hair. Like
if you come and get heat damage, then you're gonna say it's my fault. And I'm like, there's ways to straighten black hair, 4C hair, without giving it heat damage. That's up to you. If that's up to your qualifications, you should be able to do that. Luckily, I don't care too much about heat damage. I mean, my hair's in a pixie. Like, I cut my hair very often, but it was a sham. It was an absolute sham. She then put the edge control, Fenty hair edge control in my hair. As you can see, I don't know where the edges are being controlled. Not sure. All it's done is left white residue in their hair, and it's also made my hair like sticky and like clumpy and a little bit itchy, actually, right here. Just not nice. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I've got a red carpet tonight, but either way, like, Fenty hair, super disappointing. If you say that you are a salon and a hair care provider that is for all textures, then be that. If you can't do it, don't do it. Don't say that you can do it. I'm so tired of these hairstylists and these hair companies, also hair salons, being like, oh, come in, yes, we can do all textures, and then us black girls with 4C hair come out traumatized and our scalps are hurting and our hair looks like crap. We should be able to go in a salon that says it's for all textures and come out with our hair actually looking good. Like, be so for real. I mean, I guess it's still straight, so that's proved her wrong. Fenty hair, please, like, this kind of product does not work for us. Don't say it works for us when it doesn't. Please do better.
Fenty hair have got back in touch, so you need to stop tagging this lady, okay? She probably just wants to spend time with her family. Stop. So without divulging the exact details, Fenty hair was very apologetic about the experience I had, and they have extended a really kind invitation for me to come back into the salon to have a better experience with a more trained hairstylist. As of right now, I don't feel comfortable taking them up on that offer, mainly because of the way the first experience was just so bad. And actually, since my experience of going in, I've seen several other people go in and have not so great experiences with their hair, whether it be 4C, 4B, or 4A. And so for now, it's not something I'm gonna be doing, but I really appreciate them actually reaching out. I think in the long run though, I really would like this to be a learning curve for brands and some constructive feedback for brands as well. 4C hair should not be an afterthought. It should be part and parcel of the hair experience, especially when you're thinking of reaching out to different types of ethnic groups. 4C hair should always be considered as part of the customer base. So many black women, so many black people have 4C hair, and I'm tired of us being treated like we weren't considered in the first place. And this isn't just about Fenty, this is about brands in general. I've seen other influencers have terrible experiences purely because the stylist doesn't know how to work with 4C hair. Around the time my video blew up, there was another creator as well having a terrible experience. And the fact that this is so triggering for all of us is because it's happened to all of us at least once. There's not a single black woman I know that this has never happened to, that she's never had a bad experience in the salon because they didn't know what to do with her hair. I saw so many people saying that, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is a black stylist, but this goes for black stylists as well. They need to be trained in working with 4C, 4A, Afro kinky hair. Like, it cannot be something that's just left like and forgotten about. That's what makes it so upsetting and triggering. And not only do they need to be trained in working with Afro kinky hair, but they need to be taught to appreciate it. I can't believe that has to be said. And if they have any anti-black sentiments, they need to go and do the work to make sure that they're not now putting that sentiment into the sessions they have with clients. Like, it's deeply anti-black, it's triggering, it's deeply upsetting, and in some cases it can be traumatizing because it can bring up so many feelings from the past. I think a lot of people are also mentioning that, you know, this might be to do with the stylist rather than the actual products, but as we could all see, that edge control was not actually controlling the edges. Like, it was not controlling the edges at all. I don't think I had even 1 minute of control. Like, it literally just sprang back up. And I'm actually not one to slick my edges constantly, but if we are saying that an edge control works for all textures, I'm tired of people acting like, oh, this edge control doesn't work for 4C hair. Oh, well, no. Like, shout out to Gloria. Like, we actually need to be demanding way more of these brands. We are spending so much on their products. Some of these Fenty products cost £35, £30, £20.
That is in my opinion a mid-range to luxury price range, and so it should do what it says on the tin. Is like, if you say that it does one thing, then let it do that thing. Loving my style at the moment. It's very different. It's the Korobush style. A lot of other ethnic groups, including the Fulani ethnic group, have their own version and their own name for this, but it's a style that has its history all over Africa. It's London Fashion Week, so I really wanted to spotlight Nigerian styles. I always want to spotlight Nigerian fashion as well, Nigerian designers. So I'm really happy I was able to do that. We're on day 4 of Fashion Week, so forgive me if I sound a little bit like blase. But yeah, I'm a little bit tired. But I just wanted to come on, update you all, and also update you with my new style. I'll be doing a lot more London Fashion Week content this week. And yeah, thank you so much for all of the follows. I really appreciate it. Try not to get too heated. Like, I'm over it. I've changed my style. Like, that's how over it I am. Like, as much as the issue is like important, the actual circumstance, like, it's done. Like, I've moved on and I'll be changing this.
So pissed off right now. Rihanna, Fenty hair. How is Fenty hair care products?
Because none of Rihanna's lines are about products. They're about selling us being in her skin. Rihanna is selling us that intangible skill of deep self-trust, deep self-knowing, and unapologetic confidence, because those are what make you truly cool. And the reality is, every other day on this app, a new aesthetic trends and people spend their money on it because people want the formula to being cool. They want the formula to deep self-knowing. But deep self-trust is something that takes years to cultivate. And if you're on your journey of doing so, you can put on a Fenty lip gloss, Fenty panties, and Fenty perfume and feel one step closer to having that within. So to be frank, Rihanna's hair care products aren't really about the formula. They're about whether or not you feel more like her when you leave the house after you use them.
Y'all really mad at me because I don't want Fenty hair, but I don't give up. Let me tell you something. I don't support no billionaires, and I think y'all trying to take it too far with the, black women.
Okay, so obviously I would have something to say about this. It's probably not what you expect, so do bear with me, but it's a perspective I don't hear being discussed with regards to Rihanna's new hair care line. And so the TikTok I stitched, and you guys should watch the original creator, I tagged her. It's pretty long, it covers a lot of ground, but the element that I'm responding to specifically is the question of whether A, should we support billionaires just because they're black? And B, can we call a brand inclusive when the price point itself excludes a lot of people? Firstly, on supporting billionaires just because they're black. I don't think people are aware of this, but Rihanna doesn't have $1 billion in her checkings account. She doesn't. That's not what being a billionaire means. What being a billionaire means is that she has assets that are valued at $1 billion. And that asset predominantly, in addition to, I'm sure, property, etc., that asset is Fenty. She has created over $1 billion of value to, the rest of the economy. That is why she's a billionaire. Obviously, that does translate to a lot more wealth than the average person has, but it's wealth tied to the creation of value. The owners of much more affordable beauty brands like your Treseme's, like your Pantenes, they are also billionaires because they've created companies which have created billions of dollars of value. And that distinction matters because the reason why people don't like the concept of greed is because it's viewed as this one-way transaction where one person is trying to extract as much as they can from somebody else. But in terms of companies, when they're built, the valuation, and particularly for consumer products, is necessarily tied to the value that it creates, because that value is very easily measured in terms of the revenue that gets generated, in terms of how much people want to buy that thing. And what this means is that the assumption that greed always has to be part of the story when a $1 billion company is built isn't necessarily true. I mean, it sometimes can be true, but it's not inherent in the existence of a $1 billion entity. If it was, then I would say it's accurate to say we shouldn't be supporting a billionaire just because she's black. I mean, being from a disadvantaged class doesn't mean you're allowed to be greedier than somebody else. But if greed isn't a necessary part of the story, then that stops being a compelling argument. Now, what would be compelling is to say, hey, look, the only reason this company ultimately ended up creating $1 billion of economic value is because it shortchanged other people along the supply chain. You can definitely call that greed. And that actually brings me to the second point that the lady I stitched a TikTok of was talking about. She says, can we really call Fenty an inclusive brand because the prices are so high? And she, in a really tongue-in-cheek, clever way that I thought was fascinating, said hey, Aussie Moist is inclusive to me because it's $3. I thought that was such an interesting perspective. Now look, there are lots of, messed up things in the world, and you can't actually solve every single problem going on at once through the same, business or corporate entity. And so yes, it's true that excluding people from being able to buy a product by making the prices so high isn't inclusive. But it's really hard to sell a packaged goods product to a mass audience without making the money somewhere. And some businesses make the money by charging higher prices, and some businesses make that money by using cheaper products or cheaper labor practices to save the money. Like you have to be getting the money from somewhere. And so I actually think the TikToker is right. Like, no, Fenty is not that inclusive of a brand. Like, you just can't be inclusive and have prices that high. It doesn't make sense. But you also can't include every single cause in one movement. My personal opinion, and I actually don't think it matters if you guys adopt the same perspective of me. I think it's actually a good thing when people have different opinions. But I would prefer to support a brand that charged higher prices in return for using healthier and less toxic ingredients, formulations more catered to my specific needs and my hair type, marketing that makes me feel included, manufacturing processes which are sustainable. I don't actually know how sustainable Fenty is. I'm gonna leave a big asterisk there, but throwing that out there as well. I prefer that kind of inclusivity than $3 conditioner. But everyone doesn't need to think this way to build a well-functioning social and economic landscape. And so to summarize, no, we shouldn't support billionaires just because they're black, but I don't think it's true that billionaires are always greedy. And no, Fenty is not perfectly inclusive, but no brand really can be. And all that matters is that it's inclusive enough for me as an individual consumer.